Okay, so just to simplify things, I don't know if I'm going to I should make a real video essay about the bear, because like the thing is that I didn't even want to watch. The show came out yesterday, but I'm working right now. And so like I get off at 5, and so I'm really tired. So I didn't watch it when it came out yesterday, but I'm watching the show right now. I didn't want to watch the show because it just feels so like, okay, I feel like I look like a Tim Burton character from this angle. Much better. It made me very emotional because my first video was the bear, and obviously this channel is like, you know, there's 3 people here. There's 3 people on this channel. You feel me? There's 3 people. But still, I feel like it was where I started. It's my most viewed video. Like, I still feel a kinship towards the show. And so to see it end, and then I'm on Twitter heavily. So spoiler alert, SydCarmy doesn't happen. It kind of happens. They like hug at the end. It's very emotional. But the real SydCarmy doesn't happen. But did I ever think SydCarmy was happening? No. I never thought it was happening. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video essay titled SydCarmy, a retrospective, and I'll go through the whole timeline. It's just that, like, the thing about that is that's going to require a lot of time and research from me. So we'll see if I have the energy for that. But so far, notes, I'm just going to make this video like my notes on the whole season. So this video is just going to be like my opinions on the entire season chopped up. Okay. So first off, at the very beginning, first episode, everyone almost feels like caricatures of themselves. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just because the show actually hasn't been going on that long. Apparently it's only been 4 years, which means the show started in like 2021, 2022. But everyone just I feel like Carmy, every time he's on screen, he's just like, yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. And he's like he just, it sounds so solemn all the time. And he's like quiet, like, buddy, speak up. I can't fucking hear you. You know what I mean? And then people are shipping Marcus and Marluka. I mean, obviously I'm going to get behind that. Duh. But, you know. Other thing is this whole thing, their issue is really frustrating because this whole thing is Carmy's fault. All of their financial issues, everything is Carmy's fault because they let that man make all of the decisions. And the person who should have stopped him was his sister, because she is the accountant for them, right? She and Richie and someone should have stopped him earlier when he was spending so much money unnecessarily. And he was trying to turn this into a Michelin star restaurant. Honestly, they already went from mom and pa, subpar, comfort food, just, you know, hole in the wall. They went from that to real restaurant. The focus should have been on the food being good, the atmosphere being good, and getting a loyal fan base, customers, you know what I mean? Instead of like the star thing. I don't know why that was ever the goal, because they didn't have the funds and they weren't set up to do that, right? Because when you're doing fine dining is very hit or miss. You know what I mean? It's not like they have investors. They have the uncle, man, I don't remember his name, with the glasses. So my thing here is like everyone's scrambling. Another thing is, this is supposed to take place the day after. Oh my gosh, I just realized. Someone said earlier that this entire season is supposed to just be 1 day, I think, which is crazy. It's giving the pit. But last season, the finale was Sydney and Carmy. I think I did an entire video on that episode. It was Sydney and Carmy having this long conversation, and Richie comes in and is very emotional and all these things. And of course, Carmy quits and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore, yada yada badada, right? So he's still here, right? He wants Sydney to run the whole place by herself, or he wants Sydney, Richie, and his sister to run it and do a 3-way partnership, and he exits because he's run himself into the ground because he has mental issues, which I've extensively talked about in other videos. One of them, I think, titled Carmen Berzotto is Me When I'm at My Worst. And we've gone over all of this and his issues. And I think, you know, he's acting, sorry, there's stuff on my screen. He's acting really weird because he's like, Sydney, he's basically like, they're looking, everyone around them, everyone who is employed is sort of like, yeah, because Sydney and Carmy are the ones in charge. They make the decisions. And they're looking at Carmy, and he's putting all of the stuff on Sid, almost like to sort of like figure out if she can handle this, even though he already forced her to take charge the previous night. Right? When he was like, okay, so girl, I'm just gonna dip. I know I made this entire restaurant and I made it my entire life mission, but I'm just gonna go ahead and dip because this is too much pressure for me. It's not fun anymore. Was it ever fun? Because the whole reason he became a chef was to escape his toxic family members and to make himself feel better about his estrangement from his brother and all of these personal issues. So was it ever really for fun? Was it ever really passion? Or was it just something that he could give his whole self to? And or ooh, that's really good. Cooking for Carmy was something that he could fully envelope himself in order to not feel the pain of his family and his emotional issues and his brother. Right? It's like if, for example, let's say we have a person named Sophia, and she comes from an abusive family, and so she decides to become an Olympic runner, and she's so the running is, if you're going to be an Olympic runner, that's going to take up your entire life, right? That's going to take up all your energy. Same thing with Carmy. So this was all really just to avoid his issues, okay? Whereas for Sydney, this is about her passion. She loves cooking, right? Yada, yada, yada. And the thing is that he's putting all the pressure on Sydney to make decisions, and then he's still messing things up. You know, she told him, put a tent on the drainage outside, right, to stop all the water from flowing in or whatever the purpose was, and then wait for the plumber. Bro starts trying to become Luigi and Mario. She didn't tell you to do that. She told, men don't listen. She told you to do one thing, you go around and try to do 5 more things, you end up messing it up more. Or it's not adding up. It's not adding up. So, like I said, this video is just going to be chopped up. I'm just going to come back. I'm just going to come back with more opinions. The girl from The Summer I Turned Pretty is in The Bear. I shouldn't have said girl. The non-binary cousin of Jeremiah and Conrad is in The Bear. Now, this is a cameo that is better because that's such a niche actor / person. But when they had John Cena in the show, that's when I was like, what are you guys doing? The thing about The Bear is it's so good and then it's so bad sometimes. And it's like, why didn't we think these things through? You know? It feels like people sat in The Bear sometimes feels like 3 men sat in a room and were like, okay, let me think. And they hit the thinker pose and they were like, let me think. And then they just were like, okay, what if this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened? And then they wrote it. That's what the show feels like sometimes. Okay, once again, Carmy is the problem. Okay, so what's happening in episode 2? And everything's going wrong, which that's another thing about this show. The first season was them getting all the ducks in order, just making sure that the original beef, like the OG restaurant, was able to operate better. That was the first season. Then the second season was Carmy trying to shift the beef into The Bear, a fine dining restaurant. That's when everything went to shit. Not the show, but like the people in the show, as in like how the restaurant was doing, like the restaurant itself, because every season is like, guys, this is our last chance. Like, dude, what happened three seasons ago? Like, every season it's your last chance to open the restaurant and to do the service and everything, and they're like, oh my gosh, thank God we made it. Like, dude, what? Why do you keep ordering the most expensive stuff knowing that you cannot afford it? You have to make more money than what you're spending. This is basic economics. You have to make more profit and revenue than production costs. Otherwise, you can't run your business. Why do you think designer brands charge 10 times more than it costs to produce that purse? So that is just how business works. And what really makes me upset about Carmy is he has screwed over every single person who works there and who gave up, who have given their entire lives to this restaurant because he inspired them and they believed in his vision, and now their whole life is this job, which is not, it must not be paying very well. And he has screwed them over. Why did he not think more? It's like he thought like, okay, this man, he doesn't need to be working with them because he has too many issues that he has not sorted out over the past 5 seasons. I've seen very little progress from this man as far as his anxiety and all these things go. The only thing that seems to be getting better is his depression, because this man is a scrambled egg, okay? He is a scrambled egg. And I'm trying to think. It's like his thought process was, okay, this is going to be just like per se and whatever. I don't fucking know. Like, there's all these like fancy restaurants. And he was like, this is going to be just like this and this and this. And he was like, okay, we need to get the Wagyu. We need to get the $500 butter. We got to get this. We got to get that. We got to get the parsley. We got to get it. And he was like so focused on this being perfect because he's a perfectionist. Okay. Because that's how he controls his life and his mental health, by being a perfectionist. Okay, I'll give a good example. It's like people who have EDs, and if I have to spell ED, okay, whatever. People who have eating disorders, right? It's a control thing, right? It's not really about being skinny like Kate Moss, who's on my wall. If you can see that little figure, that's Kate Moss. It's not really, once you get into it, it's not really about the appearance. It is about the control. And for Carmy, all of this stuff is about the control it gives him. So he controlled everything meticulously and was killing everyone trying to get this perfect, right? The restaurant. And it's almost like he thought if he did all of these things that all of a sudden, you know, the restaurant would be famous, like it would turn into the spaghetti factory. I don't fucking know. Like, dude, what did you think this was going to be? $1 million was going to drop into your lap because you made the Wagyu a certain way? Carmen is stupid. He's stupid and he's screwing everyone over. Okay, so I have Vietnamese food right now. Fun fact, I'm part Vietnamese. Also, this is kind of a weird video because it's the first time you've ever seen me. I mean, not really, but really. He has not sorted through. Has horrible communication skills, and he is illogical. As OCD as he is, he's very illogical, and he would be a horrible partner. I'm sorry. He would be a terrible boyfriend and a shit husband. He just told Sydney, you know, maybe like telling everyone that I'm quitting the restaurant would be better coming from you, since like, you know, you're the leader now. That doesn't make any sense. Carmy should be telling everyone that he is leaving the restaurant. Why are he's obviously things are going to be put on Sid's shoulders because she is now assuming responsibility. Let's be real. Even though Richie and Sugar, and this is in the hypothetical scenario that the restaurant works out, which I think per the spoilers I've seen on Twitter, the restaurant does work out and they can continue to be open. Even though it's a 3-way partnership and Richie and Sugar are going to also assume responsibility, all of the big decisions, creative decisions, cooking decisions, that's all on Sydney. In fact, before, when it was Sydney and Carmy, they're both chefs. So what the restaurant hinges on, aside from accounting, right, spending money correctly, the restaurant hinges on the creativity, the passion in the food, right? And when Carmy and Sydney were both collectively running the restaurant as the top dogs, they're both chefs. Now it's just Sydney. You see what kind of position he's putting her in. He's already messing up. Okay, so I'm on episode 3, and it was a very minor detail, but to me it sort of explained through the subtext everything wrong with Carmen and then him and Sydney's relationship. So Carmen is reaching over Sydney. She's doing something, right? He keeps reaching over her to cut the string, to get a little bit of string because it's on her side, instead of just grabbing the entire spool of string so that he can do what he needs to do and she can do what she needs to do. But instead he keeps reaching over and inconveniencing her. And that's what Carmen does. Instead of making the choice that would make his life simpler, easier, happier, he keeps going. Madam Web. Spider-Man. Oh, let me go under, over. Oh, let me be repressed. Oh, let me be depressed. Oh, let me take some meds. Instead of just making the choices that would align his life. Streamline, to use corporate speak. One thing that really ticks me off is the facts, and the only people, or the only online group subsection of the Bear fans that I've seen that have talked about how annoying the facts are the people on Twitter. Because the people on YouTube, and I'm not really into the Bear fandom on Instagram, but only the people on Twitter will hold the facts accountable for being fucking annoying. And you really see it this season, and let me be nuanced. Their antics, aka their stupidity, them bursting through walls, falling through fucking ceilings, all this shit, acting like 12-year-olds, it worked perfectly in the beginning seasons when the restaurant was starting out. It was perfect. Why? Because it fit into the narrative and it fit the tone, right? Because the first 2 seasons are very comedic, and, you know, the restaurant is kind of in shambles, right? They're building up. We're fitting in more with the, I don't want to call them ghetto, but like that kind of scene. You know what I mean? There's a difference between like people who live in, what's a good thing? People who live in Greenwich, like not Greenwich Village, New York, but like Greenwich, like that rich area, those kind of people, versus like people who live in Southside Chicago. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be like classist or say anything messed up. I'm just saying that there are different cultures. There are different cultures and different ways that people act and relate to one another, right? And the way that the facts act, which is fucking R word, works in the beginning seasons. But once you get to this point, the reason why it doesn't work and it just rage baits you is because the stakes are higher. In the beginning, you know, if they tore through a wall or locked themselves in the bathroom, that's what they just did in the episode Raspberries, is they just locked the main fact brother, I think his name's Neil, he locked himself in the bathroom for like an hour, right? Because he was overstimulated. Literally, that's why he did it. But now the stakes are so high. You can't be acting like that. And it's like, at the end of the day, they don't have the money to hire a bunch of people. They need the people that actually care about the restaurant and that are family, because the facts are their family friends. They need the people that are gonna be here every day. I mean, the facts would be there regardless of if you paid them. It's not like they're living some lavish lifestyle. They have a loyalty to Carmy, they have a loyalty to Richie, and they have a loyalty to Sugar. Oh, okay, fine. They have a loyalty to the Berzados, and then they also have a loyalty to Mikey, who died. So I'm just saying, like, but it just gets to the point where it's like, oh my God, you're not helping. Like, why are you here? Guys, I don't remember her name, but the girl from the other restaurant, the white girl who Richie invited to work there, if you know, you know. Hand. So cute. So cute. This is what the show was missing. And okay. Let me just clarify some things. And I will reiterate this when I do my SydCarmy in retrospect. I mean, SydCarmy a retrospective, which I might do. I don't want to make any promises because that's a lot of work. Like having to research the entire relationship timeline and make a full video essay, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Who wants to do that? Not me. But I might have to do it. What I was going to say is I made a really dumb claim in that video essay. I think everything else I said was amazing. But when I said, like, I wanted the entire show to be oriented around SydCarmy, like, that was kind of goof. But I really do think that what the show was missing was romance, because every show, even if it's not about romance, because there's shows that are strictly about romance. We've got Heartstopper, Bridgerton, Heated Rivalry, kind of Scandal, you could say. It's mainly about the President Fitz and Olivia, whatever. Washing machine. Oh, I gotta get my clothes. You could, okay. Every show, no matter what it's about, needs romance. Suits, for example, it's about lawyerism. It's about the law, right? But you got, okay, now to be fair, in that show, the romance was terrible. It's fucking terrible. We got Princess. I'm Sussex now. It's funny you keep calling me Markle. I'm Sussex now. So you got Meghan Markle and fucking, what was his name? Tom? Mike Ross. Horrible romance. Then you got what would have been the best romance, Harvey and Donna, and then they just fumbled the whole thing. But what I'm trying to say is, no matter what the show is about, which you could say that The Bear is about cooking, that's what you'd say it's about. It's not really about that. Now with Suits, I feel like genuinely that show is about the law. You know what? I would actually argue that show is about the friendship between Harvey and Mike, and then it's the law stuff, right? The Bear is about generational trauma and found family, but then the cooking surrounds it. Do you understand what I mean? Every show is about something, and then there's a bunch of crap that surrounds it, which is what people would typically say the show is about. You'd be like, oh, The Bear's about cooking. But when you're making a show that's not hyper specific on one thing, you got to balance it out, which is why they included Claire, right? Give Carm a little bit of something. Let him get something. Let him get something, you feel me? I'm not using that word correctly. You know what I mean, right? He's got to get a little something on the side. Okay, a man has needs. Now, the thing that makes me upset about Sydney is Carmy is obviously the main character, but I also feel like Sydney's the main character, and then his dead brother, Mikey, is sort of like the background undercurrent main character. You know what I mean? Because he affects the entire narrative despite the fact that he's not the main character, right? And he's dead. But Sydney is next to, side-by-side main character with Carmy. She never gets a romance. That was disgusting. There was a little, what the fuck am I saying? Sydney never gets a romance. Any kind of romance. There was a little something with Marcus, but that was just like Marcus had a crush on her. She didn't like him back, which, no offense, who would? Sorry, Marcus is not. He's not really giving main romance lead, okay? He's not giving Bridgerton, right? Sydney never gets anything, you know? They could have even had her have a little thing with Luca, you know? I just feel like, why are we acting like she's not desirable? And obviously you could argue, oh, the show's not about romance. I'm not even asking for that. Because if the show was if anyone in the comments is like, the show is not about romance, then why did Carmy get a love interest? I understand that it was futile, right? There was really no point. Claire was never leading anywhere. Maybe the point of Claire was just to show Carmy that he needed to be more in touch with himself and his emotions and whatnot, and be more present, because one of the things he said was that he was never present with her. He didn't know how to be present and really be close with another person besides the people he'd already been close with his entire life. And of course, Sydney. Do you see what I mean? Carmy can only connect, and he connects. I've already talked about this to death. He can barely connect with the people he's known his entire life. The only other person that he knows how to connect with and talk to is Sydney. It's a little sus. A little bit sus. Why did Sydney not get any kind of romance? You know, she could have got one with Luca. She could have got a random person. She could have got one with a girl, because a lot of people think that she's a lesbian. Why was there nothing? Why are we acting like she's Chud Master 3000? Family's going crazy right now.
I just saw a tweet. I'm sorry, I thought of something that really upset me. I just saw a tweet that said Carl and SydCarmy. Wait a minute. Shut up. It says Carl and SydCarmy heartbreak. And then someone said, is Carl not canon? Who the fuck is Carl? Who is Carl, bro? Carl and SydCarmy. Maybe Carl is another famous straight ship. Because the tweet was about... Sorry, this is too much.
Okay, so someone just said, call me too woke, and I am, but I feel like this thought of romance devalues media is rooted in misogyny. Hashtag too woke. Here's the tweet. Tap, 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 tap. Now, I want to talk about this because a lot of people get super duper fired up and mad. I'm sorry, I get something mad. I work at like a little summer camp, and this fucking 5-year-old today told me that I had a mustache. Just go ahead and kill myself. I'm just gonna kill myself. Okay, so basically, my thing about this is that I thought that was my laundry again. I really am like, I hate when people get really, really mad. And it really sounded like Carmy for a second with the stuttering. I get really pissed off when people get mad in my comments about me wanting a straight ship to happen. Because I already get called crazy for the gay ships. For Byler, I'm trying to think of any others, but I can't. For any kind of gay ships, people get flamed, right? Because, you know, chud, what are they called? Incels. Incel film bros on YouTube and other social media platforms just hate shipping in general, and they're homophobic, right? So the gay ships all get flamed. They're axed out right out of that, okay? Sent straight to Stan Twitter. But when you get mad about a straight ship, it's like, damn, this is like the most classic thing I could be saying right now. Like, okay, even if you don't, like, care about SydCarmy, don't say that you don't think it's real, and don't say that, like, it's implausible. That's the crazy thing. If you don't support the ship, whatever, I don't really care. However you want to watch the show through whatever lens, I don't care. But to say it's implausible or impossible is insane. Did you watch the show with your eyes open or closed, right? Did you read the show in Braille or did you watch it? What's happening, right? And so I really think that, you know, being so anti-ship about every single show and be like, why can't people just be platonic? Bro, there's fucking platonic relationships all across TV media and all across the bear. Don't be like, why can't two people just be platonic? Bro, come on. Come on, bro. The scene where they were under the table, come on. I already did so much. I mean, my first video is literally everything leading to SydCarmy. I'm not going to reiterate it, but like, come on. Anytime he's freaking out, he literally thinks of Sid and then calms down. Not normal, bro. Anytime I've ever had a panic attack, I didn't think of my best friend. Raise your hand if you did, because I don't think anyone's raising their hand right now. So I really do think it's rooted in misogyny, being so anti-ship and getting so, like, fucking mad about it. Like, anyone who gets super duper duper mad about something that's like, okay, anyone who gets super angry about something in a fandom or in media that is for fun, shipping is for fun. Okay, I can't think of anything else, but you get what I'm trying to say. Anyone who gets mad at that, super duper mad, you're an incel. You're an incel and you hate your life because why are you getting so mad that people are having fun and that people like love and romance? Because all of the like serious media is always the fucking films that are like super duper serious and depressing. It's like fucking, it's always the same 10 films. It's Fight Club, which I still haven't seen, and it's Wolf of Wall Street, and then it's Interstellar, like any Christopher Nolan film, like fucking Dunkirk they'll throw. I don't know, it's just like all these like depressing, male-centered movies. Or like something really, like The Godfather, like the fucking God. Get over it, bro. What are you saying right now? Okay? And then you don't want to talk about Back to the Future, Ferris Bueller, Dirty Dancing, Pretty Woman. You don't want to talk about any... Oh, none of the romance films can be in the top 10 greatest films of all time. It's gotta be fucking Interstellar again. And I get it. These movies are great, but it's like, you gotta chill. You gotta calm down. I'm not even joking. And that's the thing I don't really love about sometimes when I make my video essays is I'm not making video essays from the point of view... I'm not making them from the point of view of, like, being super duper duper serious, like, academic when I look at these films. I'm trying to kind of talk about the psychology and the character relationships. That's what I care about. I don't care about any of that other technical stuff. I care about expanding on and thinking about and putting myself in the shoes of the characters and how they relate to one another and then how we can relate to them. That is how I look at it. I don't look at it as like fucking, like, these film bros would literally say that the original Nosferatu, not the one with Lily Rose Depp, the OG Nosferatu from like fucking 1928, they would say that that's better than Dirty Dancing because that's how misogynistic they are. So I don't even know.
Guys, look at the Batman poster, bro. Tell me that shit doesn't go hard, bro. Okay. So base. Fuck. These fucking stars keep. Sorry. I'm acting autistic. The stars, they get stuck in my head. Anyway, okay. That's gonna irritate you. The facts, the random white guy, and the dishwashers, the guys who wash the dishes, they've all come together to do the outside party, right? Because the tables are backed up because Richie didn't cancel any of the reservations. This is when these types of specific men, the ones that are like incompetent, they come together perfectly. Because they're the only ones that could put together this kind of not random, but this kind of spontaneous je ne sais quoi. They're the only kind of people, the fact-oriented people, that could put together this kind of magic that Richie wants. And it's coming together perfectly. I mean, this season is really representing that everyone together is reaching a conjoined flow state, and they're flowing down the Hudson River straight into New Jersey. Basically, now I forgot what I was going to talk about. So I'm watching the show still, working my way through it. And, oh yeah, I want to talk about it. So in episodes between 4 through 6, I think I'm on episode 6, there are 2 couples, but specifically one really annoying one. And in order to sort of get them to leave the restaurant faster, because, you know, like you already know, Richie didn't cancel any of the reservations. So they're trying to get them to get the fuck out of there, right? And so they invite them, you know, for the little kitchen tour, right? So let me put myself in the shoes of this couple, right? Okay, so if I was married or something and I flew all the way to Chicago to enjoy Chicago with my husband, and we get invited to the back of to have a little kitchen tour, what I would have done is I would have done the kitchen tour, and then I would have said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. This was the most incredible experience. And then would have got the fuck out of there. And even if my husband was being I don't want to say an incel, but like being a goofy goober nut, I would have been like, okay, babe, we gotta go. I'm sorry, we gotta go, honey. Because why are they still in the kitchen? Carmy is having these people fold napkins for them. Why are they still in the kitchen? And I get it. It adds more tension. It's like interesting. It's funny, but like also like what? Who are these people that are, I mean, how do you have so little self-awareness that you're going to invade on a literal restaurant and people that are trying to work for this long?
Freaking, these pink shorts? See, here's the thing. You guys only know me as sort of what's the right word? I don't know the word for something that has no body, but you just know me as a voice. And I remember people used to joke that I sounded like Ayo Adebri from The Bear, the one who plays Sydney. And obviously I don't sound like her, but I thought that was really cute. These pink Ralph Lauren shorts and this pink shirt, which I'm going to wear tomorrow to San Francisco. Shout out San Francisco. So basically what I want to talk about is how in sync they are at the restaurant. Now, this is something that we saw with in the Forks episode, which was in, I think, season 2. And it was the end of season 2, I believe, or maybe it was season 3. I think it was the end of season 2, and it was Richie's episode where he worked. Carmen sent him to work at the other restaurant, which is where he picked up the white girl that he's getting into a romance with, and it's where he picked up the Asian guy, right? And
he got to witness a restaurant in sync, which was the foundation for his learning and what he applied to the Bear, because Richie was always sort of kind of useless because his best skill is he's a people person. His best skill is being extremely, I don't want to say charismatic, but no,
know, sure, charismatic. He's not necessarily super handsome Prince Charming that you would assume when you hear the word charismatic, but he is a people person and he knows how to put people at ease, and that's why he is the host. And there's obviously an official term for his job, but that's why he's like the main host, and he directs all of the waiters and everybody. And they are all, first of all, because they have way too many tables, they have to go on basically crazy mode. I mean, they always use signals, right, to communicate to each other. But at this point, sorry, I gotta put these away. At this point, they are using extreme signaling, and they are communicating in fashion so that it's basically like that anyone coming into the restaurant right now would not even know what they're doing. And this happens in a lot of fine dining restaurants, I guess. I haven't been to that many fine dining restaurants, at least not on this kind of level. I've been to expensive restaurants, but never any that are like, you know, you got to book a year in advance or anything crazy like that, right? But the thing about this is that what makes, and this might seem like common sense, but I really just want to talk about this, but what makes a restaurant, a movie, even a book, even stories that stand on their own and don't need atmosphere and factors, what makes things special is, you might be thinking, oh, what makes things special, what makes life experiences special are the people. Yes, but that's why all the people that are coming to the Bear are coming with their friends and family, because obviously people are important. But what makes things incredible and to a heightened level, and what makes things feel euphoric, is a either haphazardly put together environment or an extremely meticulous, crafted, put together environment, which is what Richie and all of the servers are doing at the Bear in this season. They've done it before, but I've never seen them perform on this level. It's like they're doing mathematics, but you have to talk to people and distract people and come up with things on the fly. I mean, they have a sort of new system where they can get people to leave the restaurant without actually leaving, because you can't just go to a table and be like, hey, so you gotta leave. That just fucked up the entire experience, even if the dinner was incredible. But hey, I think it's time you went to the party out back. Oh, shit. My iPad's at 5%. You get what I'm trying to say. So this is really incredible. I've never, ever seen them perform on this level. I mean, before they were performing on a high level when they first opened the restaurant. But first of all, they were performing under Carmen, which was horrifying, because Carmen runs a restaurant like the Navy. I mean, that man acts like he will just go ahead and stab you in the chest with a Japanese knife if you don't put the leaf on the damn fillet correctly. You know what I mean? That was horrifying. This is now under Chef Sydney's reign. It's much calmer. It's still chaotic, but it's much, she's not going to hurt you, to a certain extent. So when they're seating these people, they're going to come out of this experience like, oh my God, this is the best restaurant ever. And it's not because of the food. It is because of the environment that they have crafted. It is not because of the food. They could have served them raw potatoes on a platter. But it's like when they first opened the restaurant and Sydney's dad sat there, and he, first of all, he had the worst seat ever. If you remember, I remember, of course, because all I think about is the Bear, right? That's my thing. Sydney's dad sat to the wall of the kitchen. Oh my God. I hate a bad seat. You know what I mean? You don't want to be right next to the bathroom. You don't want to be right next to the kitchen. You want to be kind of nestled into the restaurant, right? So you kind of feel like you got some space. You got some room. You know what I mean? And he doesn't drink, I think, so they brought him out an entire cart of sodas, which was stupid because this is how they got into debt, because they kept spending money on crazy shit, but it was an incredible experience. They intimately know their customers. They find out little things about them. And Richie is really the one orchestrating all of this. It's like a symphony. And it's extremely impressive. And this is why the restaurant will be able to persist because they have crafted an experience. It's like Disneyland. So a lot of people on Twitter have already been taught, and by the way, just to clear it up, Twitter's like the main place where I get my resources, which is a little bit questionable. Why do I look like the corpse bride right now? Anyways, long day. So people have already said that the pacing of this season is much better. We all know the worst season was season 3. That shit was, I don't know what the fuck was happening, right? But what I really love is that there's a great, not juxtaposition, but a great balance, right? We've got the sort of anxiety-inducing, same through line story of this night at the Bear and them running the restaurant. And then we've got Donna just reading her son's notebooks. Carmy did a food journal for every single restaurant he worked at. It's all in the office. She's just going through it. She's smiling. It's like she's seeing her son for the first time. She's definitely on better footing with her 2 kids than she was before. There's not as much. It's almost like both Sugar was always very passive towards everybody, sort of letting people walk all over her, whereas Carmy just was an avoidant and just ran away, literally and figuratively. But what the fuck am I saying? Now, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. What I'm trying to say is that they've let go. They've let go of the resentment. They've let go of the anger. Before, especially with Carmen, there was a lot of anger and resentment towards his mother. Even if it didn't feel very active, because he's not very active in general. And what I mean by active is yelling in your face, crying, and like freaking out and cursing at people. Even though, okay, he does do that, a lot of yelling and cursing, but I feel like towards the people that he should be yelling and cursing at, he doesn't do that. He likes to yell and curse at people to get it out of his system at the wrong people. That's what I've noticed with his behavior. Like, he'll do it with all the people at the restaurant instead of his own family members, which is where he misdirects his anger and he misdirects his emotions. But it feels like they've let go, so they're able to be around Donna and able to let Donna watch the baby, etc., etc. You already know this, right? But it's, she didn't know, not only Donna, the mom, but no one saw Carmy for all those years that he was working at all of these restaurants in New York and when he was in Copenhagen and etc. And now through the food journal, even though it's not a diary, I was worried it was going to be his diary because he seems like the type to be doing that, right? But then again, why would your diary be in the office of the restaurant? But it's like she's like witnessing a missing part of his life. Can you imagine like a whole chunk of your kid's life is just missing? Because they never told you about all those stories and you didn't get to see it because you weren't around them. And they, you didn't like call on the phone all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a very good balance right now. It's a very good flow. If we were to do my anxiety on a scale from 1 to Carmy, it would have been a 1 or a 2. Okay, so not like that, obviously, but it took me a couple of video essays to understand that I felt just like Carmy, and that is why I really was into the show, because there's a huge difference between loving a show and writing video essays on it, right? Like, I've done video essays on, obviously, The Bear, and I did one on comparing The Pit and House. I've done a lot of videos about The Pit. I also love The Pit. Reason why, actually, I already said this in my last video, actually, so I'm not going to say it on here. So if you watch the last video, you'll know what I said. But I heavily related to Robbie in the first season of The Pit. So I really heavily latch on to shows with main characters where I understand them mentally, like House MD and The Pit and The Bear, So, but now I can't relate to him at all. I still have a lot of empathy for him, obviously. I have empathy for most characters and people in general, real people. but I can't even understand where he's coming from anymore. And I think that just speaks to how much I have changed as a person and how well the show was done. I'm just going to say that, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys remember Dream. Like, I never watched him. Let me just clarify, I never watched this man. Okay, but obviously I know who he is. The Minecraft YouTuber, when he did the face reveal and he was like, hello. That's how I just looked when I was like, guys, welcome back to another video. Okay. Oh my gosh. Can you see all of my pink wardrobe right there? I'm trying to expand it to the entire rack and have only pink clothes because I love pink. Okay. So Jesus Christ. Basically what I wanted to just kind of slide in here, just kind of slide it in, is something that I'm still upset about because I'm allowed to be upset. Okay. And guess what? It's not SydCarmy. It's Sydney's panic attack from season fucking 3, or was it 4? I can't even keep track. I guess I'm not a real Bear fan. I guess I'm not a true #1 The Bear fan, but I never claimed to be a #1 fan of The Bear. I'm a #1 SydCarmy shipper. And I will proclaim myself as captain of the ship. I will proclaim myself as captain of the ship if anyone wants to stand behind me. Okay? When Sydney had her panic attack, it was, let me just set the scene if you forgot what happened.
It was when Sydney was having a housewarming party. It wasn't really like that. She was like, guys, who wants to come back to my apartment? I have a little bit of food. Have some drinks, have fun, right? So everyone goes to her apartment, having drinks, having fun, everybody's chilling, right? Brand new apartment. She just moved out of her dad's house, right? Very big moment, right? So she ends up going into the closet. This is when Carmy is on his reign of terror. So actually, I think this was season... No, I don't remember. It was when Carmen Berzotto was on his reign of terror and he was ruining everyone's life and Sydney was just tweaking major. And it was when the white dude, whose name I can't remember, with the glasses, offered her a job. And by the way, I think I've already talked about this before, but I'm just going to talk about it again. I don't care. Okay? And she has a panic attack in her own closet, her own hall closet, and no one finds her. And I know what you're thinking. Soraya, plenty of people have panic attacks and no one finds them. I don't care. It is a TV show, okay? And one thing I absolutely hate is when there is a big emotional moment or a breakdown and no one is there to react to the breakdown. Because obviously in real life, when you're having a breakdown, when you're having a panic attack, when you're crying, when you're upset, no one's majority of the time, no one's there to help you. No one's there to hold you while you cry. And honestly, that just makes you cry harder because you're like, I'm fucking alone right now. That's embarrassing, right? Why is this happening to me? I understand that's a part of life and that is realistic, but in a TV show, the reason why you have someone react to the breakdown, find them doing something they shouldn't be doing, whatever, someone walks in on them. The purpose of these scenes, tropes, etc., is to elevate and expand on the characters themselves as individuals and their relationships to one another. Now, the reason behind this is that, I'll set the scene, right? Let's just use Sydney as an example, right? So Sydney has a panic attack in the closet. Depending on who finds her in the closet, you will get a very different scene. So let's say Tina finds her in the closet. Now, we already know that Tina's a good person. Now, was she the best person in the very beginning of the show? No, she's had a lot of growth. She was a little bit of a, I don't want to say a pick-me, but she had a lot of sort of, insecurities in the beginning, and she saw Sydney as a threat. But that was because, she wasn't really in her element. Her life wasn't about herself. She was broken down. She'd sacrificed her whole life to support her child and be a part of her family with her husband, and so she was a very kind of broken person. But we already know through examples that Tina's a great person. If Tina found Sydney in the closet, it would be such a heartwarming scene, kind of feeling mother-daughter. It would be wonderful, right? It would further their relationship and their closeness, but, it wouldn't give us anything new. If Richie found her in the closet, it would be a great, uncle-niece moment. It would be so sweet, yada, yada, yada. Richie, I guess, could showcase, but Richie's already a father. We already know that he has that side to him, that he can be nurturing and kind and loving. We already know that about him. Now, if Carmen, who is the ideal person to find her in the closet, found her in the closet, this would be an opportunity for Carmen Berzotto's character to show that he has a higher sense of morality based on, not morality, but based on how he comforts and helps Sydney in this moment, based on how he brings himself down and humbles himself before her to show that he is trying to actively change, Now, could you interpret this? Could it delve into a romantic lens? Yes, but it could also just be a very intimate moment between the two where Carmen gets to almost see himself. He's a person who has consistent panic attack. Well, I don't want to say consistent, but he's a person who has a lot of experience with panic attacks. We've seen Carmen have panic attacks consistently throughout the show, all of the time. All of the time he's having panic attacks. We only saw Sydney have a panic attack, a real huge one, once. That's why that scene to me was a huge deal, because I was shocked. I was like, whoa, Carmen having a panic attack? That's another Tuesday. Sydney having a panic attack, that's cause for concern. If Carmen had found her in that closet, that would have been a generational scene of the show. And that's why I feel like, and this is not just to shit on the bear. This is a problem with a lot of shows. They don't delve deep enough. Play around with character dynamics more. You know, have something big happen. Not big like falling through the ceiling. Big like a panic attack, this, yada, yada, yada. And then somewhat reaction. You need reaction. You need reaction from the main characters because these are the relationships that we care about. I'm just saying, like, why did that happen? Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody, let's take pause. Let's take pause in the church. Name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Let's take pause. Don't look at me in the mirror. Fuck. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm watching, I can't even remember what episode it is, but it's the episode where Marcus delivers the banana split to his father. Now, I will say I can't remember the story behind his dad. We know his mom died of cancer, ? His dad, obviously him and his dad do not have a good relationship. I'm thinking either absent father, in and out, no pun intended if you're a Californian, or I hope not slightly abusive or anything, but I'm thinking sort of an absent father, right? He delivers him the banana split. His dad his dad is like feeling guilty, realizing, I guess, in real time that his son is an incredible person and that he should have done better as a man. And he's like, son, there's a lot I got to talk to you about. And Marcus is like, that can wait, we got time. Whoa. Is that not an ideal? And I say ideal, I mean to use that word, an ideal, something that we should all strive for, to say that we have time. Now, is that true? No, because no day is promised, but it is so important to not rush things and to give space for things and to just live life in the moment and say, hey, we got time. You don't have to be, we have time. It's okay. And then he goes, oh, wait, forgot the caramel. Slices the fucking candle on the table in half. There's fucking caramel in the candle. Oh, sorry, it's on my foot. Caramel drizzle in the candle that has been warming up? What? This is the best season of the whole show. But it can't be the best season without all of the previous seasons. It's one of those. It's a payoff. And wow, is that not an incredible feeling Marcus must have? You're looking your shitty dad straight in the face. Sorry. Alarm. And you're like, look at what I am and look at what I've done and look at the way that I don't need any of your validation or any of your words right now. And I'm in my element. And here's a little caramel candle drizzle. Crazy. And then the music, the strings that they put in the background, that specific song that they did for the show, perfect emotional moment, not cheesy. It felt powerful. And a scene feeling powerful and not powerful, aggressive, not powerful, bomb. I mean powerful emotionally and mentally. That was a powerful scene and I'm very impressed by it.
Okay, so Carm just got recommended through his cousin, John Mulaney, SNL star. And I don't, it's cringing me out because he's treating this interview like a therapy session and he's getting a little too into it. And to be fair, this is a very free, I don't want to say freestyle, but a very no bounds interview. It's not corporate. He doesn't have to be super duper professional. He came in with the suit. He also came in with a lot of nerves, which I suppose I understand because typically he's worked a lot of jobs, but probably his resume has spoken for itself. And so it's less about, his skills are already spoken for. Do you feel me? So I feel like he's going into this knowing he doesn't want to work in restaurants anymore, but he doesn't have a clear plan. And that's really why I think he should just be a sort of freelance artist. I really think, right, he loves to draw. He's really good at that. He should just make art for a little while. And be self-employed, because then he can just be in his own zone. I'm sure with his connections, he could sell a lot of art pieces. And I really think that that's the best strategy here. It's over. It's over. The bear is over. There's nothing more to say. There's nothing more to dissect. There's nothing else. It happened. It existed. And now it's set in stone. I'm sorry. It hurts. It hurts, but it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. But it does hurt. SydCarmy forever.